Biology. We will start the biology with introduction. So, what is the biology? It is the scientific study of life. Uh, it is made up of two Greek roots, which is bios and logos. Bios is living things, logos is the study. So, to understand the biology, we should first understand what is the science and what is the living thing. So, let's look to the science. The word science is derived from a Latin verb meaning to know. So basically it is a way of knowing. Let's look here what it says. Science is the description of the world based on measurable facts and the formulation of the testable explanations how world works. So what is the measurable facts? It is anything that you can measure and you keep getting same answer. For example, you get on the scale and you weigh yourself. You will get the same answer as you get on and get off the scale. So how much it says you weigh is the fact. Testable explanations. It is any explanation that is scientific explanation has been tested over and over and over and over again and we keep getting the same answer. And this allows us to make the prediction about the way world works. For example, astronomers make predictions that, let's say, there would be total eclipse of the sun tomorrow at 3 p.m. So they make prediction and they tested it scientifically over and over and they got the same result. Then they explain it to us. The scientific method. It is answering questions using testable explanations. A scientific method has series of steps that scientists use to answer questions and solve problems. Let's look this method. First, it says that ask a questions, then make a hypothesis. Hypothesis is offering a tentative explanation that can be tested. It leads to predictions that can be tested by making additional observations or performing experiments. Then collect these facts from your observation and accept or reject your tentative explanation. Let's make an example. Imagine you have a car and you had a problem with your car and it does not working. So first you should ask a question. Why did my car stop? Then make a hypothesis. Maybe battery may be dead. Then charge or change the battery and check whether it is working or not. If your car is working, the hypothesis is supported. If the car does not work, the hypothesis is not supported. So to make a scientific experiment, scientific method, you need to do these basic steps. Scientific theories. There are many explanations of the theories, but basically we will explain scientific theories according to the biology. So it has tremendous amount of evidence and generally accepted by scientific community, such as the cell theory and theory of evolution. Then we have scientific law. It is a theory that has demonstrated its capacity to repeatedly explain and accurately predict numerous phenomena. Scientific law is accepted by everybody, which means it is universally accepted, such as law of gravity and thermodynamics. To understand clearly what is the scientific theories and scientific law, let's talk about cell theory and law of gravity. So cell theory says that cell is the basic unit of the life, and all living things are made up of one or more cells. Everything we have ever found in this planet Earth that was alive has been found it is made up of one or more cells. So why isn't it scientific law then? Because we don't know if there is a life in another planet similarly made up of cells. Let's look scientific law of gravity. It says what goes up must go down. It works in any place in Earth, Moon, Mars and Jupiter. It explains that every object creates gravitational attraction towards it. The larger the object is, the stronger gravitational pull. For example, Moon isn't as large as Earth, so it hasn't strong gravitational pull as Earth does. If I were on the Moon, I could jump about 12 feet in the air before it pulls me back down. Let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter is much bigger than Earth and it creates stronger gravitational pull. If I jump there, I couldn't even jump 1 feet before it pulls me down. So there are two events that science explains, and they have several differences. The first one is the scientific theory, the second one is the scientific law. Assumptions of the science. They are the axioms that they can't be proven. Let's look them. First, universe behaves mechanically, which is governed by a natural order. It is philosophical belief of the science. And where did this natural order come from? Science can't prove that the world has an actual order or not. Let's look at the second one. There is a cause and effect relationship behind every event. We may say that if God forbid somebody, he may get cancer. We believe that something caused to that person to get the cancer. We may not know all causes of cancer, so we are as a scientists may use like that assumptions. Let's look to the next one. This natural order of the universe is knowable to us. We are limited what we can see, even with telescopes and microscopes. Hear, even with amplifiers and microphones, and touch. So in spite of the limitations of our ability to perceive, science assumes that if we study some subject over and over long enough, we will be able to understand it. And we made this kind of things over decades, like invention of phones, cars, and rockets. Limitations of the scientific inquiry. Science can't answer questions where the scientific method can't be applied, where you can't utilize, analyze, and measure scientific method and carry out controlled experiment. Science can't study miracles. So what is the miracle? Miracle is the unique event that will probably never happen again. Science can only study the things that can be analyzed over and over again to keep getting the same result. So we can't study these miracles. Science can't analyze ideas, free will, the soul, God, aesthetics, morality, and religion. Scientifically, we are not able to know whether there is the soul or not, because we don't have anything in our hand that can measure the soul, whether it exists or not. Somebody would say that what's the purpose of the life? It is a wonderful question, but scientifically we don't know, and we can't get answers for that from the science. This is why people are studying religion and philosophy, to understand, to find out answers for this kind of questions, because those deals with the values, purposes, and morality. Science doesn't deal with such kind of things. Basically, science is immoral. It does not have any moral. To understand clearly what is the scientific explanation is, I will make brief example. So look to that. Only those explanations that can be repeatedly verified by observation or experiment are considered scientific. So we know astronomy observes planets, moon, stars, and sun, and so this kind of things. Let's look to the psychology. It is the scientific study of human behavior, and we also have the astrology, which will studies astronomy and psychology. It learns planets, moon, stars, sun, and personality behavior. So we know that astronomy is the scientific class, and psychology is the scientific class because it has the scientific study of human behavior. How about the astrology? Is it the scientific class or it is not scientific? The purpose of astronomy is to explain and predict things about universe, stars, and planets. The purpose of astrology is to understand planets, moon, stars, and sun, to make the predictions about personality and human behavior. So the explanations of the astronomy and psychology are experimentally tested, but astrology is not scientific class, because when was the last time you heard about astrologers carrying out controlled experiment before they made the predictions? When you read newspapers or when you are on the magazines, you will see that kind of events, like Aquarius should marry with a Libra, but not a Capricorn. Where is the experimental evidence for that? What do they actually study a group of people to see if there is any validity in that prediction? They are actually saying there is a connection between position of star, planets, and how people behave. I don't know, is there a connection between the position of the stars and the planets and and how people behave or not. All that I know is that nobody is ever done a controlled experiment to see if it's correct or not. They could do very simple experiment to show scientifically astrology works or doesn't. For example, find 10 couples which are astrologically good matched and find another 10 couples which are astrologically terrible matched. And then make a paper and ask them questions. If you find 10 good matched couples indicate that they are much happier than those terrible 10 couples, at least that will provide beginnings of some scientific evidence of validity about their predictions. Would that be difficult to do? If no, why astrologists don't do that? The only thing that I can guess is they don't even believe for themselves.